Today I am doing a one-piece climb, and the rule is simple. I start with Luffy, every win moves me to the next character, and I keep going until somebody sends me back to the lobby. Starting with Luffy feels correct because his kit is basically the perfect ABA starter pack. You get range, movement, combo tools, and at least one move that will connect from a distance that feels slightly disrespectful. I am not trying to invent the most complicated route ever here. I just need clean confirms, sensible cooldowns, and preferably no public server disaster in the first 30 seconds. We have the character locked, the match is loading, and I already know patience is going to last about 5 seconds. Alright, first real exchange, and I am trying to use pistol to control the space before committing. The dangerous thing with Luffy is that every button makes you feel like you should keep going forward. Then you miss one stretchy arm, stand there looking ridiculous, and suddenly the other team has a free combo. I get the opening here, turn it into Gatling, and that damage is exactly why this version still feels good. It is simple, but simple does not mean weak. I should have backed away after the knockback, though. I stayed close because I wanted another hit, and now I am eating pressure for being greedy. Very accurate Luffy decision-making, unfortunately. At least the movement in VR makes these scrambles look 10 times more chaotic than they actually are. This part is where the match stops being clean and turns into everybody throwing abilities at the same patch of floor. I am watching my health, waiting for one person to overextend, and trying not to waste bazooka into a block. There is the opening. I catch the approach, follow with the M1S, and for a second that actually looks planned. I cannot even lie, Rocket is doing a lot of work for me here because it lets me change the angle instead of running straight into guard pressure. The trade is not perfect, but I will take it. In a climb like this, I do not need every exchange to look impressive, I need to leave with more lives than the other team. That sounds obvious until ABA puts for players 3 ultimates, and 1 questionable hitbox in the same camera frame. We are in the last stretch now, and I am deliberately slowing down. Earlier I was chasing every bit of damage, here I just want the safe confirm. I get clipped once, reset the spacing, then go back in when the cooldowns line up. The funny thing about Luffy is that his moves look cheerful right up until somebody loses an entire health bar. That combo near the center is the one I needed. It is not some impossible ranked route, just good timing and enough stun to keep the pressure going. I nearly throw the advantage by standing too close again, but the team cleans it up and that is win number 1. Blue team takes it, the climb is alive, and now I get to move from straightforward rubber violence to a character whose entire fighting style is kicking people while looking offended. Next is pre-time skip Sanji, which means I am immediately trading Luffy's comfortable range for a kit that wants me directly in somebody's face. I love Sanji, but this version makes every engagement feel personal. Collier gives me the opener, Frittasorti keeps the combo moving, Spectre handles the pressure, and Table Party is the move I absolutely do not want to throw out for no reason. I am checking the matchup while the countdown runs, but the basic plan is already obvious, stay mobile, bait a bad button, then kick until the game politely separates us. The desert map gives me plenty of room, which is useful, because if I miss my approach there is nowhere to pretend it was intentional. The first stock is already much messier than the Luffy game. I go in, get a short confirm, and then stay for 1 extra hit when I should reset. That is becoming a theme. Sanji's pressure feels great once I am actually touching somebody, but getting there without donating half my health is the real match. I use the terrain for a second, wait for the fight to spread out, and then pick the target who is already committed to an animation. That is the kind of opening I need. Collier comes out quickly, the follow-up lands, and now I can keep them guessing between blocking and trying to escape. The fire effect also makes every decent combo look far more dramatic. As a One Piece fan, I appreciate it. As the person trying to see through the screen, I have questions. I am low here, so this should be the moment where I play carefully. Naturally, I sprint back into the fight. To be fair, Sanji is much better when I am setting the pace than when I am waiting for somebody else to start. I catch one player with Spectre, turn toward the second, and the whole exchange becomes a small fire tornado in the middle of the desert. The damage is good, but the important part is forcing their cooldowns. Once those big moves are gone, I can actually use my speed instead of blocking every glowing object that crosses the screen. I miss one punish completely, recover before they capitalize, and somehow come out of the scramble with momentum. That might be the most ABA sequence possible, 3 mistakes in a row, followed by one decision that makes everything look calculated. This final section is basically a test of whether I can stop chasing. We have the life advantage, my cooldowns are returning, and the worst thing I could do is hand them a free comeback. I let them approach, block the first pressure, and answer once the opening is real. Table Party looks ridiculous when it connects, and I mean that as a compliment. Sanji turning somebody into part of a spinning kick routine is exactly the kind of adaptation detail I want from an anime game. We trade again near the edge, I survive with less health than I would like, and then the last clean hit closes it. Red team wins. That is 2 matches without dropping the climb, and I am genuinely relieved, because the next character is Ace. His buttons cover so much space that playing carefully becomes more of a suggestion than a rule. Ace is up for match 3, and this is where the climb gets dangerous for everybody on the map, including me. Firefly gives me a range check, Fire Fist is the obvious threat, Fire Pillar punishes anyone standing too close, and Fire Gun is perfect for making neutral deeply annoying. I like that his kit actually feels like Ace instead of for unrelated red explosions, although there are still plenty of red explosions. The city map is tighter than the desert, so landing the big area moves should be easier. The downside is that every wall and car can hide somebody until an attack is already in my face. My plan is to control the street, force movement with projectiles, and save the close-range tools for anyone who thinks rushing the fire character is a brilliant idea. I start by throwing out Firefly to see how they react, and the answer is apparently to run directly through the dangerous part of the road. Fine by me. Fire Fist catches the group, the screen turns yellow, and for a second I have no idea which hit belongs to which player. This is why Ace works so well in team fights, even when I do not get the full combo, I am making a section of the map uncomfortable. I do overcommit after the hit and get punished near the cars. That one is completely on me. I had range, I had space, and I chose to walk forward like my block button had been removed. I reset, use Fire Gun to interrupt the next approach, and suddenly the neutral looks reasonable again. Amazing what happens when I use the character the way he was designed. Now the fight is splitting into smaller exchanges, which is much better for me. I can watch one target, place the projectile where they want to move, and keep Fire Pillar ready if they close the gap. There it is. They come in, I drop the pillar, and the punish is immediate. Great One Piece reference, horrible experience for the person standing on top of it. I try to extend afterward, miss the angle, then avoid the return hit by moving around the wreckage. The cars are doing more defensive work than some teammates I have had. We lose a bit of health in the trade, but I am still controlling the tempo. That is the main difference from the Sanji match, with Ace I do not have to win every close exchange. I can make them take risks just to reach me. The ending gets chaotic again, and I am one bad decision away from giving away the lead. I throw Fire Fist through the lane, catch enough of the team to create space, then use the smaller shots while everyone is recovering. The visual effects are doing their best to hide the actual fight, but the health bars tell the story. We have them low, we still have control, and I only need to avoid becoming the hero of a completely unnecessary comeback. I back off for once, wait, and take the final opening instead of forcing it. Blue team wins, so Ace keeps the climb perfect at 3. I will always appreciate a kit that feels faithful and still works in the game. Now we move to Zoro, where the range gets shorter, the swords get larger, and every missed move looks about twice as embarrassing. The Zoro match is already underway because this recording started right as the fight began, so there is no peaceful character select screen to explain myself. I have Santoryu, Tiger Hunt, Yakadori, and the larger finisher waiting on the 4th slot. The goal is to stay close enough that the sword pressure matters without standing inside every projectile on this very green map. I open with a quick approach, test their block, and immediately get reminded that Zoro does not have Luffy's stretchy safety net. If I swing at the wrong range, I am just a man holding 3 swords while somebody charges a punish. Still, once the first hit lands, the combo feels clean. The animations have weight, the sound sells it, and I am already looking for the next chance to force them toward the river. This matchup is turning into a lot of short trades instead of one long combo. I catch them, they escape, somebody else arrives, and suddenly I am blocking effects from 2 directions. I use Tiger Hunt to cover the close approach, but my timing is early and most of the damage misses. There is no way I can blame the hitbox for that one. I reset behind the stone, wait for the projectile to pass, and then take the cleaner angle. That second attempt is much better. Zoro's kit rewards commitment, but it does not forgive panic. When I press everything at once, I become extremely predictable. When I hold one move back, the opponent actually has to guess. Somewhere, a power scaling argument is beginning because I said Zoro requires patience. I refuse to participate. We are fighting near the water now, which should make positioning simple, except everyone keeps changing targets. I land the opening slash, carry the combo forward, and use the knockback to separate one player from the group. That is exactly what I wanted. The follow-up is not perfect, but it creates enough room to survive the counterattack. I get tagged by the glowing projectiles, lose more health than expected, and briefly consider playing safe. Then I see another opening and forget the entire idea. At least this time the aggression works. The sword effects cut through the visual clutter, the combo counter climbs, and we take control of the center again. Zoro in ABA feels best when the opponent has to respect the next swing. If they stop respecting it, I have to remind them immediately. The last life is where I finally stop throwing out the big move just because it is available. I keep the 4th slot ready, pressure with the safer options, and wait for the dodge. Once they commit, I can turn and catch the recovery instead of gambling in neutral. The black and white impact effect lands, the health disappears, and that is the sequence that decides the match. I nearly get caught in the return fire near the end, but there is enough space to recover and the team closes around them. Red team wins again. For victories is already better than I expected from a climb recorded in VR, where half the challenge is fighting the opponent and the other half is remembering where my camera decided to go. One match remains, and Akainu is an extremely subtle way to finish, magma, explosions, and absolutely no concern for the condition of the map. Final match. I am using Akainu, and this kit is basically an environmental hazard with cooldowns. Hound, Great Eruption, Magma Fist, and the larger area attack all give me ways to punish people for standing almost anywhere. We are loading into the fortress map, and I want to end the climb without turning the first 30 seconds into a panic. The plan is to keep mid-range, place magma where the other team wants to approach, and only commit once somebody is already stuck in an animation. Akainu is not a character who needs to chase every target. If I control the ground properly, they eventually have to walk into something terrible on their own. The opening proves the idea immediately. I put the magma down, force them away from the clean route, and then catch the movement with the next attack. Even when the full damage does not land, the floor stays dangerous long enough to change the fight. I get too comfortable, though, and take a hit while watching my own effect. Classic anime game problem, the move looks so good that I forget the opponent is still allowed to play. I back out, wait for Hound, then use it to punish the next straight approach. That hit feels enormous. Canonically, Akainu's attacks are supposed to be terrifying, and the game definitely understood the assignment. Balance-wise, I would like to apologize to the player trying to see through a wall of bright red lava. This middle section is the hardest part of the final match because the other team is finally respecting the range. They are spreading out, waiting for me to spend the big cooldown, and trying to punish from different angles. I throw one attack too far, miss, and immediately have to block. That is the correct response from them. I use the rubble to break the line of sight, circle back toward my teammate, and let the fight compress again. Once two players are near the same spot, Great Eruption becomes much more valuable. I catch the group, follow the launch, and the screen turns into a natural disaster. That is not a move, that is an eviction notice. The trade costs me health, but it also restores control, and with one match left I will happily exchange health for tempo. We are close now. I have the life advantage, the area is covered in magma, and the only realistic way to lose is to become impatient. I almost manage it. I chase around the broken wall, swing before the target is locked down, and eat the counterattack. I survive, reset, and this time wait for the actual confirm. Hound connects, the follow-up keeps them in place, and the last burst takes the remaining health. Red team wins, which makes the climb 5 for 5, Luffy, Sanji, Ace, Zoro, and Akainu without a loss. I cannot even lie, that went far more smoothly than it felt while playing. There were missed punishes, questionable chases, and enough effects to erase the map, but the streak survived. If I extend this climb later, I want to try some of the less obvious One Piece characters, because another Luffy is fun, but an obscure moveset is where ABA gets really interesting.